Okay, guys.
Coach, I think you were down 12 with 10 minutes to go, and then 8 with maybe 3.5. When you win one like this, I don't want to say dodge a bullet, but does it maybe mean a little bit more? Does it, I don't know, have any maybe extra significance?
I don't know about that. I know it's a, it's a big time win whenever you don't play very well, and they're the reason why. And they had a player, made 6 threes tonight. He's made 3 in the last 3 weeks, and just went nuts, and we couldn't guard him. And that wasn't what we thought we'd have to be the biggest concern going into the game. He was great, but we did keep our composure, and we kept grinding, and then we got key stops late and rebounded the ball a little better late.
I think that's where it was won on the defense bench?
Yeah, I would say so. We got to the free throw line, obviously, but I would say, I don't know how many times they scored on their first shot there in the last 7 or 8 minutes. I know they did, but it didn't seem like much, and we didn't rebound it great, but we did a good enough job that was able to, possession by possession, kind of claw our way back in. I don't know what it was. It seemed like to me we had it down to 3. I'm going off memory, 63, 66 maybe, at the 4:15 or something like that. And so we played really well from like that 7 minute to that 4 minute mark to be able to cut the lead.
When Huggins was in here, he had some opinions about the 35-2.
Yeah, I've never seen that before, And we shot a lot. I don't know how many shots. Shot probably 10 in the last 20 seconds, though, or something like that. But there was, one thing that we try to do against them is drive it downhill. Drive it, because they pressure out. And one thing that they did tonight a lot of was shoot a lot of threes. So even though they made a lot, they didn't put us in a situation to foul as much. So, I'd have to watch the tape. I'm not gonna reserve comment on anything other than I hated how the game ended. It was a good game. It was competitive. Both teams tried their butts off. Atmosphere was incredible. Probably one of the best atmospheres anybody's had all year in college basketball. And I'm a fan of Hugs, and I don't like how the game ended. I wish it didn't end that way. I'm happy we won, but certainly not to end that way.
What did you say to Doak when you took him out, just from the effort that he displayed in this game today?
I don't remember what I said, but I told him that if I was what's a famous referee, Mills? Mills Lane. I told him if I was a referee and I had him next to me, I would have raised his arm up saying that he was a champion tonight. So, because I thought he was great. I thought he played terrific. He had energy. He stayed out of foul trouble for the most part. That was a big boy game for him.
Would you say it's his best game as a Jayhawk?
Dokes? I don't know. It was one of his better ones, yeah, for sure. Yeah, it was. He was active.
Have we gotten to the point where it's no longer just a small sample size with his improved free throw shooting?
I don't know. I don't know. Rick Barry still doesn't come to mind whenever he shoots them, but he's worked on it really hard. He's worked on it really hard, and even his misses look a lot better. So and his technique's better. He still's got some things to do to become a good free throw shooter, but certainly he's made a lot of positive strides.
What do you think of how they kind of slowed the tempo the last 8 or 9 minutes? Started kind of early.
Yeah, I don't know what the thinking was, but I do think when you're down double figures and the other team's going to use 25 to 30 seconds every shot clock, and then they get 40% of their misses back. That you would think you're not going to have that many opportunities to come back. So that's why when a team does that, it's even more important to make sure that you get stops and those things. And we were able to do that. We defended the last 10 seconds of the shot clock really well in that period of time you're talking about.
Coach, how big was this?
How big was it? I don't know yet. It keeps us in a position to play for something. It is certainly. I think it was big for our guys' confidence, probably. I think it was probably big for our fans to experience an atmosphere like this, and for game day to be here. Those sorts of things. But if you don't take care of business on Monday, it didn't mean much tonight. But it put us in a position where we're still in the game. So yeah, it was a huge win for us. But I'm not sure the significance of it. yet, you know, until we are able to probably play a couple more games. And, you know, if we're able to be successful Monday and go to Tech with at least in the game, you would know that this win put us in a situation to be in the game.
How did you feel about the way the league finished?
I thought he finished really well. I thought the first 37 or 36 wasn't very well, but I thought he really competed hard down the stretch and finished the game the way that I felt like he should have been playing it the whole game. But yeah, he did some nice things and of course made 2 huge shots.
One more officiating question. One of the things I had said was that they make points of emphasis before the season and don't stick with them. Whether you want to talk about tonight or not, just generally speaking, how well do you think the officials have stuck to what they said before?
You know, I could say that I've had frustration this year at times, but to me, you know, and I'm certainly not. I mean, I'm not complaining. This has nothing to do with tonight. That's a hard game. You could call a foul every possession. You could call 2 or 3 fouls every possession. And certainly some of my frustration obviously comes with Doak in that, you know, when teams can run 3 bigs at him and playing against 1 and when there's physical contact both ways, naturally if they foul us and naturally next time he pushes, it's a foul on him. So you know, I could get frustrated with it too, but my personal opinion is I don't think it's been bad. I think every league, and Larry can speak to this probably better than I can, but I think every league, the officials start the season out with all the right intentions, and the intentions continue to be right. But when you get into league play and you get into styles of play, and you have you know, the same group of guys calling the games, and they get used to seeing teams how they play their style, I think it makes it harder. That's why I think the NCAA tournament in some ways is an easier tournament to call than league games in February because we know each other so well. That would be just me, but I don't know what emphasis he was talking about, but certainly, you know, you could say I know one of the big emphasis was in the cylinder. And how many times was in the cylinder called tonight, or wasn't called? You know, as a good call. I know Svi got hit in the face one time, and it was a good call because he was in his cylinder, so it shouldn't be a foul. And I know that there was another time that Svi was in his cylinder when there's a little bit of contact, an automatic foul. So, you know, from that standpoint, I thought that you know, I thought that emphasis was actually called pretty well.
It's maybe more of a midweek type of question, though. But do you think the fact that teams play each other twice in this league makes it, you know, you're even more familiar with the teams in this league?
It's harder to win the second time. It's harder to score the second time you play somebody, at least in my opinion. Like you know, the place was so loud tonight, and we had a lot of things designed to combat their pressure. But when you can't hear, when communication's bad, when kind of pressure busts the pipe, so to speak, and you don't react to it, instead you think for a count, now the play's out of whack. I think it's hard to score the second time you play somebody. You almost rely on guys making basketball individual plays than you do scoring off your plays.
How much did the comeback against West Virginia in Morgantown kind of fuel the guys knowing that they've seen them, they've done it this season?
I don't know that had anything to do with it. When we got down double figures in the second half, we said, "Hey guys, we've been here before," but we would say that, you know, regardless of who we're playing. So I wasn't really referring to West Virginia as much as, hey, we've had been down double figures. There's a ton of game left, but I don't know if the game at West Virginia or the game here last year had one thing to do with the outcome tonight.
Both times you played them, you won the turnover battle. Is that more reflection of you guys, or them, or a combo, or what?
I thought that we did I thought tonight, the thing about it is their pressure totally took us out of running our stuff. So even though we didn't turn it over, their pressure was still effective. But we didn't turn it over. We didn't have live ball turnovers, which led to transition and those sorts of things. So it was important that we took care of the ball.
I think Oklahoma's lost, 5 straight maybe. If you've seen them, is there anything that you noticed differently that is different the first time?
I haven't, to be honest, Shay, I haven't studied them. I know that they played today, but they played when we were in shoot-around, and I didn't get a chance to watch the game at all. So we'll dive into that later on tonight, but I couldn't answer that right now.
It's got to be more fun for these guys to walk back into that locker room with the 08 guys in there after a win,
Yeah, I think so. You know, I told those guys, you know, you had Shady in there, and you had Sasha, and you had Cole. Those are three pretty good bigs, and there was only a handful of games where those bigs played better than what Udoka did tonight. So Udoka definitely, I thought, you know, Shady getting 20 and 10 in the national championship game still probably trumps it, but I thought Udoka was pretty good.
Is there anything with Udoka coming up on Monday that you would have to talk to him about in terms of not taking that game too personally after the way the game ended in Norman?
You know, maybe, I don't know. I think sometimes we can talk too much, and sometimes just why bring it up? He knows. But it wasn't him. That was me in Norman. So he shouldn't feel anything other than incentive to try to go out and play well, not because of what happened in Norman, just because of what we have an opportunity to play for, maybe.
Today, Coach Smart said after the Oklahoma game that he thought that the freshmen in this league are starting to hit the wall. He said he thinks that's what's happened with Trey Young. It's happened, he believes, with a couple of his guys. Is that something that does happen? We hear it, but
yeah, I think it does happen. I'm not saying it happened, you know, with anybody in particular, but yeah, it does happen. It's a long year, and even with guys that don't play a ton of minutes, it's a different grind than what you get in high school. So, and just like when you go into the next level, you know, playing 5 games in 8 days is a different grind too. So, but I can't speak to that about Trey, but it's not unusual for guys, even upperclassmen, to hit the wall this time of year.